Buenas tardes a todos, días, noches, lo que sea en cada vuestro lugar de donde viváis, ¿no? Y bueno, pues como cada semana vamos a hacer el Star Citizen Live. Este viernes toca hablar de los efectos especiales, ¿no? Nos van a hablar ahí de cómo hacer los efectos especiales y tal. Buenas Seoran, buenas Harlock, buenas RV, buenas Malísima Mala, buenas Matislow, buenas Cartagines. Pues vamos allá, dentro vídeo.
Hey everybody, welcome to Star Citizen Live, Affecting Visuals. This week our show is all about the creation of visual effects. And joining us on the show this week is Director of Visual Effects, or Visual Effects Director. He'll tell me which one that is. Mike Snowden. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Which one is it? Is it Director of Visual Effects?
Están haciendo simplemente una pequeña broma de cómo se llama, si es director de efectos visuales o Visual Effects Director, ¿no? En plan, de haciendo la broma esa que en inglés y tal, y ya está.
It was last year. Sometimes we had you on a panel with a couple other folks. We had some generic questions about VFX. What we're going to do today, once we're done talking for a little bit, is we're going to go into the engine and we're going to actually demonstrate a bit of your team's work.
Dice que simplemente van a ir al motor de juego y van a demostrar el trabajo que hacen, unas pequeñas demostraciones del trabajo que realiza su equipo, ¿no?
Visual effects, at least to me, are I don't know if many people have ever seen a game without visual effects. I see it here all the time in early builds.
Nos está comentando de que no sé si mucha gente ha visto un juego sin efectos visuales, pero que él sí ha tenido oportunidad de hacerlo. Y que nos comenta de que como que se ven las cosas sin vida, ¿no? Que ve una nave y de repente pues verla sin efectos visuales es como si viera una roca moviéndose inerte, ¿no? Sin vida ninguna. Claro, que los efectos visuales pues que es algo que trae vida a los videojuegos, que es muy importante, ¿no?
Before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your team does specifically? Visual effects seems like it could cover a lot, so
Yeah,
give us a
sure.
rundown.
Dice que los efectos visuales cubren mucho, es muy un campo muy amplio y dice que nos concrete qué es lo que hace su equipo, ¿no?
Wow. Okay. Well, as you say, I mean, VFX kind of everywhere in the game, and it's sometimes you're doing a good job making VFX when people don't necessarily notice that they're there. But as you say, if there's no effects in the scene, because everything just looks lifeless and still. So one of the things for VFX is exactly that, to kind of create motion and life and movement, where otherwise there wouldn't be any. We kind of serve the design team as much as we do serve the art teams as well, so even if you think about the most, I guess the effects that I'm most familiar with, the thrusters on a ship, without them.
Bueno, dice que básicamente efectivamente lo que hace los efectos visuales es dar esa clase de vida al juego, que están todo el rato en contacto con los equipos de arte. Y una de las cosas que él ha tenido bastante contacto ha sido con los impulsores de las naves. Y que si los impulsores de las naves, pues faltaría esa vidilla, ¿no? Esos efectos que nos dan los impulsores, de que el jugador no podría saber cómo se mueve, ni la nave o si se está moviendo, ¿no? Con la cámara de fuera, la tercera persona.
So bedding the vehicles and the players into the environment, footsteps, landing dust effects, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And in a general sense, why are things like dust and fog and stuff necessary?
Claro, bueno, están hablando del tema de la niebla y el polvo, que por qué es necesario, ¿no? Por qué muchas veces vemos, porque la gente pregunta por qué siempre se ve polvo y niebla por todos los lados, ¿no? ¿Qué pasa con eso? ¿Por qué es de esa manera?
We see this question a lot, and I'm just going to hit you with this one right off the bat. Why do we put fog everywhere?
¿Por qué ponemos niebla por todas partes y
I
tal?
was watching. I watched the new Godzilla movie last week, and every scene is coated in fog and rain and all that stuff, which I'm sure absolutely were not there when they were filming. Why do we do that?
Well, I'm looking outside, and every scene is coated in fog and rain outside. So, no, I mean it's.
Está comentando, por ejemplo, la escena del Escuadrón 42 que se ve pues lluvia por todos lados o se ve niebla por todos lados que antes no estaban ahí, como que fueron puestas y tal. Y que ahora está bromeando como, bueno, puedes mirar por la ventana y ves que hay niebla por todos los lados y polvo, ¿no? En plan de cachondeo.
It's an art direction thing, you know, a lot of
Dice que es una...
you know,
simplemente es una decisión tomada desde los equipos de arte. Que para poder crear un ambiente atmosférico, pues que lo hacen de esa manera, es una decisión artística.
adding things like fog and dust allows scenes to be lit more volumetrically as well. So it's really just creating, just serving the needs of the art direction, I guess.
Claro, dice que añadir también lo que sería la niebla y el polvo hace que las cosas puedan ganar como más volumen. Una sensación de que tienen, pues eso, más volumen, más profundidad.
Now, before we get started, I need to ask you about your what's that on the left there? I'm seeing an N64, and I'm seeing what looks like the.
Está preguntando sobre las consolas que tiene detrás. Que ve una Nintendo 64.
Right. That's not the Super Nintendo that we had. We over here we had this purple monster.
The purple brick.
Purple
Vale.
brick.
Le llaman el monstruo púrpura, el ladrillo púrpura.
I have surround myself with all my old consoles to kind of remind me of why I got into this industry, as cheesy as that sounds, but yeah, and I play them as well. I got my Dreamcast up and running. It's not at the moment.
Claro, nos comenta de que realmente tiene esas consolas ahí y que las juega de vez en cuando para recordar el motivo y tener presente el motivo siempre de por qué él se metió a esta industria, ¿no? A trabajar en lo que trabaja.
Consoles they sell at like the fair that does like 5 actually it's 7 consoles in one. I think it's I'm at a premium for space, but I'm sorry, I just like that's not what this show's about. We're going to get off consoles. Somebody would kill me if we talked about consoles.
Me está diciendo que si se dedican a hablar de esta hora de consolas, que habría gente que lo mataría por dedicarse a hablar de eso, ¿no? Pero que quizás en otro momento que puedan quedar para hablar de eso en privado.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'll switch to
Dice que nos va a enseñar unas escenas en el motor.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
So this is just a super simple scene. This is the kind of a variant of my good old faithful test particle
Bueno,
scene.
aquí vamos a hacer una pequeña pausa, ¿vale? Para explicar un poquito. Bueno, lo que estoy utilizando, que lo veis aquí arriba, es el Lumberyard, ¿ok? La historia de los motores de Star Citizen es un tema que ha surgido hace tiempo. Sabéis que hubo una demanda de Crytek y demás. Bueno, para tratar de explicar un poco aquí esto, que creo que merece la pena, es que digamos que el Star Citizen hizo como una especie de contrato con Crytek para poder desarrollar el juego con su motor, ¿no? Entonces, digamos que hicieron una especie de contrato para hacer un juego y hubo una serie de cláusulas en plan de pues que Star Citizen a medida que iba desarrollando pues le daría feedback y demás. Gracias a ese contrato y se hizo posible ese primer tráiler que podemos ver en la página de Kickstarter de Star Citizen, que todavía sigue activa, ¿no? Y fue pues gracias a esa unión se hizo posible, ¿no? Entonces, ¿qué sucedió? Sucedió que de repente pues sabéis que hubo ahí un tema de un problema legal y tal. Porque de repente en vez de solo hacer Escuadrón 42 apareció Star Citizen. Entonces como que se consideró que se había hecho el contrato solo para un juego y no para dos, pero como que Star Citizen y Escuadrón 42 como que es el mismo juego, como que es una cosa que está ahí medio en el limbo y tal, pero sí, es el mismo juego realmente. Entonces sucedió, bueno, que una serie de historias y tal, y luego pasó a... Si queréis ver esto con más detalle, tenéis cantidad de información por ahí por internet sobre esto, ¿no? Entonces, luego pasó que llegó Lumberyard y pues directamente pues Star Citizen cambió de motor y se pasó al Lumberyard y bueno, por eso hemos visto ese cambio gráfico de que había en el principio a lo que hay ahora y por eso también hemos visto, se podría llamar retraso, ¿no? Pero en realidad no es un retraso, sino el avance o la diversidad tecnológica que tenemos ahora en el juego. Directamente pues querían algo más gordo y bueno, pues... se supone o se debería suponer que debido a que están utilizando Lumberyard, pues digamos que como que Amazon deja utilizar los videojuegos Lumberyard, pero a cambio en el futuro tienen que utilizar sus servidores y demás y sus servicios para tener el juego online y demás. Ya veremos cómo resulta todo, pero de momento parece que va bien. Bueno, ahora ya volviendo al tema, nos están enseñando cómo funcionan los efectos que están realizando, una prueba de efectos aquí en el motor de Lumberyard. Vamos a ver qué nos cuentan.
This with just all kinds of particles really, but I thought that for the purpose of this I would start with as simple an effect as possible really, and it's just this tiny little dot.
This whole scene looks like a modern art installation.
Yeah, well there's actually a reason for this. So this was when I was originally setting up different scale explosion effects and damage effects. So these were, I think this is 2 meters, 4 meters, and it was all kind of incremental scales.
Claro, está diciendo de que una de las cosas que tiene, bueno, que hay como, como un estudio todo montado aquí dentro, ¿no? De lo que es el motor. Dice que, claro, que cada cubículo sirve para diferentes escalas, distancias y demás, y que pues a través de esto pues pueden ir probando cómo se comporta el mismo efecto en diferentes situaciones. Dice que, bueno, que todo empezaba ahí con un pequeño punto ahí y vamos a seguir.
To make sure that the right scale was being adhered to. But yeah, so I would say 80%, a large chunk of the VFX artist's job at CIG in particular is working with particles. And so, yeah, well, it's actually called the VFX editor now because there's more to it now than just particles. It used to be the particle editor. It now encompasses a few more things, which I'll kind of probably elaborate on later on. But yeah, so in its kind of most simple form, we can just place very basic effect, and you can see that if I move the camera around, I can draw with it, do my signature, and then from there, depending on what the requirements are, whatever the art team have requested or the designers have requested, this thing will eventually become something completely different. It could become dust, rain.
Claro, está diciendo que ellos hacen lo que se dibujan, primero lo que es el efecto, y luego a partir de ahí, pues eso se puede convertir en niebla, lluvia, lo que quieran hacer con ese efecto, ¿no? Sobre el tema de Lumberyard, que dice Malísima Mala que el Lumberyard era CryEngine, simplemente lo compró Amazon. Como os comenté, sería muy largo explicar todo aquí, entonces si queréis profundizar en esto, Internet está repleto de información.
Fog, like we've just been talking about, it could become a thruster. Anything that you can think of that's in the game that's VFX, it can become that all through this editor.
Can we see it become one of those things?
I can kind of jump to something to another example of something quite different. Let's just assign this. So here you go. We just got some fairly simple sparks, really, using GPU particles. So I have the luxury of being able to increase the counts.
Una de las cosas que sabemos, bueno, es que los efectos en Star Citizen, a mí los efectos se basan en partículas. Y ahora nos están enseñando partículas trabajando con la GPU, que sería con la gráfica.
It's colliding. You can see it's kind of colliding with the environment.
Claro, vemos cómo colisiona con el entorno, cómo está afectada por la gravedad.
Change what the effects looks like. So that's one thing about working with particles. Really, is there's lots of we kind of very much try to adhere to the real world settings, I guess, to kind of make them as believable as possible.
Claro, dice que el tema de las partículas y cómo funcionan, pues que tienen un tema de pues, que le pueden modificar la gravedad, pueden modificar una serie de parámetros para hacer que esas partículas sean lo más creíble posible, ¿no? Que lo puedes modificar, pues según el tono que lo metas, puedes modificar esos parámetros.
Can we kill the gravity and see what happens?
Me dice, Discolando pregunta que si puede desactivar la gravedad para ver qué pasa. Nos está comentando que como que tiene todo repartido en 3 monitores y que va a intentar llevar las cosas a la pantalla para que la veamos en el streaming. Y ahí ha matado la gravedad.
Yeah, so this is kind of particle color over life. The reason here is that the hotter it is, the color is going to change based on the heat of the thing. So,
claro, dice, le pregunta a Lando, ¿no? Que a la hora de moverse se notó más de por qué cambia el color de las partículas. Y dice que el color de las partículas cambiará basado en el calor. Se supone que aquí está como más caliente, aquí está más frío y por eso cambia de color, ¿no?
I guess I've got. Let's take a look. Let's just hide now. Lots of hierarchies as well with particles. We're not just limited to one emitter. But yeah, we've got a color gradient here. So this is the particle age curve. So the life of this particle is specified here. So each of these individual particles is going to last for 3 seconds. I've actually got a random value on it as well. Without the randomization, everything starts to look a lot more uniform. So I suppose if I just strip that back, you can see.
Está comentando de cómo gestiona lo que es el tema de color, que tiene aquí, que lo que pasa es que se ve tapado por él, que tiene aquí una barra de color que puede mover el color y demás, cómo se comporta. y que luego a la hora de ver los colores y demás, que tiene como una especie de random de la utilización, que se le desactiva, el color se ve más uniforme y que de esa manera, pues al tener algo random, como que hay más variedad, que es más realista, ¿no?
It's all looking very uniform now. And yeah, changing the color over the age, you'll see that if I kind of increase it so it's blue for basically half of its life, and then it starts to go orange. But also what? Go on, sorry, Garrett.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say we've also got an alpha curve on it as well. So actually, while it's changing color, it's also becoming less and less opaque, so it gradually dissipates into the air.
How many particles are
Claro,
within it?
está comentando que a medida que se va alejando, gradualmente el color se hace menos y menos opaco hasta que se dispersa en el aire. Chipa, ¿no?
Right here.
Well, it's a count of 20,000.
So that's 20,000 particles in this
Está
one.
comentando una cosa importante, ¿no? Que es cuál es la cantidad de partículas que tienen, y dice que aquí pues tiene como 20.000 partículas ahora mismo en activo, en solo este efecto.
Yeah.
Single effect.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's fine though. That's fine. Let's go 200,000. Why not?
Vale, le acaba de meter 200.000.
And you can see what's happening as well because there's such a high count now. I don't know if you can see it, but the screen is absolutely like around it. It's the exposure.
It's exposure.
It's darkening everything around it as well, and that's kind of simulating.
And that's the dynamic exposure on the lumberyard camera.
Claro, está comentando de que a la hora de añadir, en vez de 20.000, 200.000, eso afecta al entorno porque las propiedades de la cámara como que tiene una unidad que se llama Dynamic Exposure, ¿vale? que es pues exposición dinámica, y hace que la habitación también se vea afectada por la iluminación de las partículas.
Let's do that.
That's right. Yeah. So the exposure settings are camera based. Yeah. So I brought that back down to 20,000 because 200,000 was a bit intense. Even.
Dice que lo va a bajar
You're
porque
dragging it around. It just changes
200.000
color. And I know the color is supposed
200.000 es muy intenso incluso para él, que lo va a bajar un poco.
We're dragging it around.
But it's actually not changing because I'm dragging around. You just seeing the color change a bit more because as I'm moving it, those particles are spawning continuously.
Gotcha. Okay. I get it.
Claro, está comentando ahora de por qué cuando lo mueve alrededor como que cambia de color. Dice que no es que esté cambiando de color al moverlo alrededor, sino que cuando lo mueve, como las partículas están saliendo constantemente, el color se ve como más claro.
The start of each particle's life, it's blue, so this just makes it more clear.
Claro, como el inicio es azul, pues al moverlo así lo hace como más claro, ¿no?
Yeah. I'm slightly disappointed that I don't actually have a load of firework particles for this demo, but
Can you put the gravity back on and move it so I can see how it...
Dice que si le puede poner otra vez la gravedad para ver lo que pasa.
so I've actually got a gravity box, so it's actually the box itself probably doesn't cover the whole area.
Well, that's
yeah, it
cool.
does. Yeah. So yeah, you just get this lovely cascade in, and then from doing that, there's a whole range of settings that I can edit and I need to edit to make it look convincing. So as soon as you're thinking about effects behaving, based on gravity settings, you want to be thinking about the drag and the mass of the thing, and here you go, we've got gravity scale, so I can actually if I just reduce that gravity scale.
Ya está comentando una cosa interesante, que en estos botones de aquí, ¿no? Puede como poner las propiedades tanto de las partículas como de la gravedad, mirando la masa, y aquí pues modifica la escala de la gravedad. Y nos va a enseñar ahora de cómo funciona lo que es tipo de variaciones, ¿no?
They're still being affected by the gravity, but just like a 10% of what they
Claro,
were before.
ahora está como un 10% de lo que estaba ya originalmente, y bueno, vemos que sigue habiendo gravedad, pero que no lo suficiente como para que haga la cascada que vimos antes.
I can do the opposite as well. I can make it really heavy. So
Vale, ahí si lo pone realmente pesada la gravedad, pues mirad lo que pasa, ¿no?
Conversely, I can give it negative gravity. So if you want,
So the Monday and then Friday.
yeah, pretty much.
Monday and then Friday.
Yeah. Something else has just kicked in. I think I've just enabled something else. I think I've got wind or something active now.
Claro, dice que hay como algo que está modificando, que está como empujando, y dice que debe de tener como los efectos de viento también puestos, ¿no? Ahí veis que también se puede poner el efecto de viento en las partículas.
Yeah. So that's another thing. So gravity is one thing. Then we've got wind as well. So.
Claro, que tienen gravedad y también viento, además.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've put together a few examples here. To be honest, I didn't put as many together as I would have liked to. But the day kind of ran away with me. But yeah, all sorts in here.
Before we continue, we got a question from the chat here. It says, how do you account for the various graphic quality settings on a user's end? Do you have to make separate effects?
Vale, le está preguntando de cómo hacen para escalar en diferentes calidades a la hora de, pues, cuando vas a la configuración gráfica, ¿no? De bajar la calidad gráfica, y cómo hacen esto, ¿no? Si tienen diferentes efectos visuales, ¿cómo hacen para que consuma menos recursos?
Well, we've got actually really nice. We haven't necessarily got all of our like system spec settings locked down because well, we're still in development. You know, technology's still, graphics cards are still being released and things like that. But we got a really nice setting here actually. Shall I try and demonstrate this? We've got this max distance log, which itself has its own curves. So if I give this a max distance log, let's use the Sparks one again. Okay, so to make this optimal, I'm just going to talk a bit about optimization, not specifically system specs, but this kind of ties into it. To make this more optimal, there's a few things that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to give it a max distance load. So let's just set that to something quite short. So this is a distance of 10 meters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to control the count based on that distance. So with this curve here, I'm saying that.
Pero lo que nos está haciendo ahora mismo es que ahora mismo dice que como es un alfa que no tienen todavía desarrollado ese tipo de hasta el extremo, ¿no? De poder configurar los gráficos de esa manera, pero que aún así sí que tienen un tema de distancia, ¿no? Por distancia pueden hacer que a partir de cierta distancia pues empiecen a bajar el número de partículas que se muestran por pantalla. Entonces nos enseña que aquí pues está poniendo que pone una distancia de 10 metros y con esta curva que hay aquí va modificando progresivamente a medida que nos vamos alejando la cantidad de partículas que vamos viendo.
Time it goes to 10 meters, the count has gone from 20,000 to 0.
Dice que a 10 metros pues va de cero, veis, o sea, de cerca veis los 20.000 y de lejos no veis ninguno.
The FX have an actual, like a dynamic LOD system based on how far away from it you are.
Exactly, yeah, exactly that, yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Got some funky buttons on my shelf as well. So this is just a VFX shelf. So one of the things that I've got here is a distance thing. So I can see that it's actually 30 meters away from the camera. In fact, let's just make that a little bit bigger.
Lo voy a hacer un poquito más grande para que lo podamos apreciar mejor. La distancia le he puesto 100 metros.
To 0. Check how far away I am from it. Let's get a bit further. There you go. You can see it kind of fading away. So this is one of the ways that we're able to have really high GPU particle count. It's not like this thing is constantly a drain on the player's GPU. We're very sensible with the way that we optimize the effects. Yeah.
Entonces comenta que el efecto no es que simplemente esté constantemente dándole, que son muy cuidadosos a la hora de los recursos, ¿no? Entonces dice que las partículas de GPU pues lo que hacen es eso, que procuran optimizar bien para fijarse en el tema del rendimiento. Es que pues si te alejas pues directamente pues desaparece ese efecto. Gradualmente.
So what else you got for us?
Let's just have a look then, shall we?
Oh, I wasn't ready for that.
So this isn't a continuous effect, this is like a burst effect.
Claro, eso es como un efecto de burst.
I've actually put this one in.
Lo que sería una explosión, ¿no?
So I've got it's something that we probably haven't really used a huge amount actually in our effects in the game so far, but we've got a speed over life curve here. This allows me to change the speed of that particle over its life. This is we call the mode artistic as opposed to physical. So on the one hand, I was talking about being kind of physically based and adhering to the rules of gravity and wind and things like that. On the flip side of that, we can also become a bit more creative as well. So we can make these effects. Basically, each particle now is going to be slowing down again over the lifetime, which is 5 seconds. This thing is going to be, if I take off the random, 40. I actually don't know what is the 40. I don't know if it's miles per hour, kilometers per hour.
Nos están comentando de que aparte de lo que son modificar las propiedades de gravedad, también pueden modificar la velocidad de las partículas. Entonces en este caso vemos que nos indicaba que el tiempo de vida, que son 5 segundos, el de las partículas, ¿ok? Entonces en esos 5 segundos pues se produce este tipo de cambio de velocidades. Entonces vemos como al principio las partículas van lentas y luego se vuelven a acelerar para crear ese efecto que hemos visto, ¿no? De que primero hace boom y luego hace y se dispersa todo, ¿no?
It's just the speed. Let's just say it's a speed of
En,
40.
en este caso,
And yeah,
está poniendo, bueno, está comentando de que la speed, de que pone aquí 40, que si son kilómetros por hora, que si son millas, y bueno, al final llega la conclusión de que simplemente es velocidad, y bueno, la velocidad en este caso es 40, y ahí es donde modifican la velocidad que tienen las partículas en general, ¿no?
going to do is halfway through its life, it's going to slow down completely to zero speed, and it's going to ramp up again.
Claro,
And
dice
that's
que
how you
primero
end up
baja a
with some
cero y luego
quite
pues volver a saltar. Ahí lo
interesting
tenéis.
movement. And I think
Que
that
hace
some
un
of the
movimiento
effects, some of the more
interesante.
alien effects, I guess, are going to be able to benefit from that sort of
Claro, dice que es como un movimiento así como más alien, que se pueden beneficiar de ese tipo de sensaciones.
more creative approach.
Yeah, it's what happens commonly in Star Citizen is you take anything, not just the VFX, any aspect of the game to the point through all the points of realism, affected by gravity, affected by wind, like that. And then once you've got all the realistic aspects there, now you have to tweak for creativity, for artistic license, for
Completely.
for we want the thing to look how we want the thing to look. So
Yeah,
it's cool
yeah.
to see something like this, the artistic thing. It's like realistic.
Dice que una vez tienen todos los parámetros y demás puestos en Star Citizen, que es una de las cosas que pasa, ¿no? Una vez establecen esas normas, llega la parte creativa, ¿no? De lo que queremos ver y lo que queremos tener delante. Y pues que es una cosa buena de ver que nos haya enseñado cómo funciona a través de esto.
Realistically, there might be no reason for the particle to start off at this speed and then slow down and then speed up again.
Yeah,
Unless we're talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
weird sentient tachyons or something. But
Well, why not? Yeah.
But,
I mean, for me personally, like I like that we're able to. So we try and we're kind of striving for realism in terms of realistic looking graphics, but we're very much influenced by Hollywood as well, aren't we? So we've all got a love of sci-fi movies, and I think they have the same thing. They want to try and make it look convincing, but sometimes your perception of what is realistic isn't actually the same as what is realistic. So we just find that balance.
Claro, están comentando de que se fijan mucho en las escenas de en las películas de Hollywood y demás, y que claro, que muchas veces la percepción de lo que tú tienes de lo que es realista no es realmente lo que es realista, entonces como que tratan de darle ese toque artístico o de creatividad, ¿no? Como es este caso.
Of stuff looking realistic but also looking cool. If it doesn't look cool, then
we had a question from the chat asking how you test for various lighting conditions. Obviously we're in a very dark scene here. How do you know your particle is going to work in a variety of different conditions?
Good question. We've actually got a time of day.
Claro, dice que ahora mismo están probando las partículas en un entorno oscuro, pero cómo hacen con diferentes variaciones de luz o diferentes entornos. ¿Cómo hacen para probar las partículas en otros comportamientos diferentes, ¿no?
So what I would say is that if I was working on an effect, I can work in this test scene, sure, that's fine, but I would always be making sure we're looking at it in situ as well. We'd be making sure we're looking at it if it was in the PU, we'd be looking at it in the PU level. We'd be making sure we look at it on a planet, and if we're looking at it on a planet, we've got to make sure we've kind of moved the sun around or moved the particle around the planet so that it's essentially, we can't really sign off an effect until it's been tested thoroughly under all the lighting conditions. That also applies to gravity as well, because we need to make sure, if I go back to that spark effect, I need to make sure I might have it looking really cool when gravity's on, but I need to make sure it also kind of works in space as well. Right. I can't really cheat as much as maybe we can in other games. We have to be very, very thorough with our testing process.
Claro, está comentando de que a la hora de realizar un efecto, como que van probando en un planeta, lo van moviendo, el portal de superficie del planeta, lo que sea, ¿no? Y van mirando cómo se ve. Y que, a diferencia de otros juegos que no pueden hacer trampas a la hora de hacer ese tipo de efectos, que tienen que ser cuidadosos, de que también no solo se vea bien bajo efectos de la gravedad, sino que a la hora de estar en el espacio, que también se vea interesante el efecto.
Process. Yeah.
And to answer Kilmark's question, you can see it bouncing off the boxes now.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Explosion.
Yeah, so this is actually screen space collision, which is one of my favorite settings that we've got. We've got plans to kind of flesh out the feature set. It's the first kind of pass at the screen space collision. it's a GPU, it's a Z buffer collision, and it's much cheaper than the CPU collision that we have on the old CPU particles.
Está hablando de que una de las... están preguntando sobre el tema de la colisión y tal, y que dice que es una de las cosas favoritas que él tiene, ¿no? El tema de la colisión. Y una de las ventajas es que el antiguo sistema, que era partículas de CPU, que tiraba de CPU, pues que no era tan eficiente como este. Este es muchísimo más barato, el de GPU, y pues que da más posibilidades, claro.
It does have its limitations because it's purely based on, because it's a visual thing. If I go behind this wall, you'll see that it's all of a sudden it's gone. It's because it's taken.
Claro, está diciendo que, bueno, que también tiene sus limitaciones, que al ir detrás de este muro, que se deja de ver, ¿no? Porque como que está tapado.
It's taken it from the point of the emission, so it thinks that there's nothing there now. So what we would typically do for an effect like this, I'd probably create another version of that effect. Could just do it now.
Dice que lo que hacen para solucionar eso es como que crear otra versión de ese mismo efecto. No están enseñando cómo hacerlo.
Paste that in. So all I've done there, basically just copied and pasted. One of the nice things about this VFX editor is that what we're seeing here, this library, we call it a particle library, this is basically an XML file. So the copying and pasting process is just very straightforward. We can even copy and paste directly in an XML.
Una de las cosas que dice es que el efecto en realidad es un XML y que eso le permite copiarlos y pegarlos donde quieran y trabajar con ellos con Fluid, ¿no?
Like in Notepad++ or something. But yeah, what I would typically do is... Sorry, Jared, I was rambling then.
No, by all means, dude.
I do ramble a lot sometimes. Okay, so I've duplicated it. I've unticked the screen space collision. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have that count. So I'm kind of splitting it out now. Half of them are going to have screen space collision, the other half aren't. And what that should mean is that you can still see these particles here. They're not being cold anymore. So that's just one of the ways that we would potentially work around that. The problem that I'd have there is that because these aren't colliding, they're going to just go through the floor. So, like I say, there's elements that we need to flesh out the feature set. It's all in the schedule. It's all there somewhere.
Claro, dice que lo que han hecho ha sido pues poner 10.000 y 10.000 en vez de 20.001, ¿no? Entonces lo ha dividido y pues claro, que sigue teniendo el problema del tema de que la segunda versión que ha puesto que no hace la colisión y tal, y que eso son cosas que pues irán solucionando, que está programado en algún lugar del futuro.
Yeah.
So you've got two particles going simultaneously right now. One is colliding with the floor, the other one is not colliding with the floor.
Claro,
Exactly,
tiene como dos fuentes, una está chocando contra el suelo y otra no.
Like in the hierarchy, this is just a child.
Can we change the color on the second one so we can see the difference?
Está viendo si cambio el color para ver las diferencias entre una y otra, ¿no? Para que las tengamos.
Red.
Y de rojo.
No, hot pink, that's better. Hot pink.
Yeah.
Han dicho rosa y de repente han gritado por ahí por el estudio, rosa, rosa, por favor.
Cheering of approval. Okay. I think in reality, because it's an additive, it's additive and it's very, very emissive. It's all kind of just blooming out. But yeah, I'll prove that it's pink now. I'll just tone this down.
I can see it.
Needs to be more pink. There you go.
Ahí lo he puesto rosa.
Yeah, and again, like there's all kind of, I've not really talked about any of these settings, but we've got emissive lighting, so I'm really demonstrating kind of hot emissive effects here.
And if you drop below, we should see that only the pink ones are going through the floor. Or is it only the yellow ones that are going through the floor?
It will only be the pink ones. Yeah.
Claro, entonces ahora está enseñando que... Bueno, como que tiene que modificar el color aquí porque está como tiene un gradual, ¿no? Para el tema del calor, ya estuvimos hablando de eso antes. Entonces dice que, pues sí, efectivamente debajo, como solo consideran las otras, debajo veremos todo rosa, ¿no?
There you go. Purple Rain.
Lluvia púrpura. Purple Rain, que bueno, que sabéis que es una canción. Podéis buscarla por ahí por internet, que es famosa.
There was a question, I saw it in the chat and it went by so fast I didn't catch it. I'm looking for it right now.
I'm just going to play with some effects.
Right.
They're all looking.
It's gone, I imagined it. So what else we got to look at?
A ver qué más tiene para enseñarnos.
Okay, well, we've also got, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit is some of the ways that we can manipulate the motion of our effects as well. So we have, as well as relying on gravity, wind, etc., as I mentioned. We've also got various ways in which we can introduce noise into the effect. So we have in this setting here the movement category. We've got vortex turbulence, we've got curl noise, we have SDF, which is sign distance.
Claro, dice que a la hora de poder trabajar con partículas que también tienen otro tipo de efectos para añadir ruido a las partículas, como son meterle turbulencias o... Ya lo sé.
Fields, which essentially I'm gonna get flamed if I get this wrong, but I'm gonna call it.
I was going to say the second you said sign distance field, the question was, let's ask him to explain it, and then I realized this is a minefield because everybody gets really close to it and then messes it up. So go ahead and try, and then I'll have Sean Tracy evaluate you afterwards.
Okay. Well, my interpretation of it is that it's basically a 3D texture that can tell us the closest distance from a surface. So we would be able to use it, for example, if I'm not going to kind of make one live because I'd have to, I don't know, it just wouldn't be fun to do. But this kind of area here, this
we may
little
schedule
box,
a live once for an hour. So.
I'll nominate someone else on the team to do that if we really need it. Yeah, basically, I could create a sign distance field, but from the geometry of this kind of surrounding plinth. I can't really think what it would be called, but yeah, if I created a sign distance field for this, I would be able to make sure that the particles. So as well as having screen space collision, that the particles are going to know the distance from that surface, so they're going to know when they're actually going to hit that thing. What that's going to give you some examples of where that's going to be really, really useful in the game. For gas clouds, for example, we're going to be able to have, or we already do have, to be fair, we've got sign distance fields for the gas clouds, and we can make particles actually slow down, or rather than passing through the gas.
Está enseñando está explicando una tecnología nueva, ¿no? Y bromea en plan de mucha gente ha intentado explicar lo que es el Scientist Field, que es como lo llama, ¿no? Y dice que en caso de que lo explique mal, que luego llegará John Tracy y que lo examinarán. Entonces está comentándonos de que tienen una tech que les permite saber cuál es la distancia más corta, o digamos que lo que hace es que cada partícula realmente sabe a la distancia que está de ese campo, ¿no? De esa barrera. Entonces, de esa manera que eso puede ser muy útil de cara al juego, en el sentido de que, por ejemplo, si tenemos un gas, que podemos hacer que ese gas, cuando se esté aproximando a una pared o a una superficie, pues que como que se ralentice, ¿no? Como que haga ese efecto de, pues, que vemos en cualquier... el rollo del humo y esas movidas, como que se ralentiza al chocar, ¿no? Y cambia esas formas, esos volúmenes.
Gas clouds, we can make them conform to the shape of the gas cloud, and it gives us a really nice way of layering extra texture onto the gas clouds to kind of increase that resolution and make them look prettier. But yeah, so that's one thing. We've got what else have we got? We got vector field. So vector field is another kind of 3D texture format. That is kind of, I guess, that vector field just gives us another way to manipulate and push particles around. We create a vector field in like offline rendering, so in something like Houdini, for example, 3D Studio Max, and that gives us the ability to generate much more, I guess, more kind of detailed wind. So in the engine at the moment, we've got the wind, but the wind is basically directional, so we can control the direction and the strength, but we can't bring in that kind of finesse to make much smaller dust motes, kind of turbulent, swirling around and things like that. So that's where.
Claro, dice que otra de las cosas que tiene es el vector field, que lo que hace es como que es otra herramienta más para poder modificar el comportamiento de las partículas. Y en el caso de, por ejemplo, del viento, nosotros podemos tener el viento y que el viento mueva todas las partículas por igual, pero no tendremos esa sensación como de turbulencias o como de remolinos que se forman en los gases, ¿no? Entonces, con ese vector, digamos, pues imaginaos que es un cono, una zona, ¿no? que ellos delimitan, y de esa manera, por ese campo, pues sí, las partículas se mueven en una dirección, pero que como que las alrededor pues reaccionarán de otra manera, porque están fuera, ¿no? Entonces se producirá ese rollo de remolinos y demás.
Vector field to be really useful. I think actually Mihao, one of my senior VFX artist, he did a demonstration at CitizenCon last year, where he had a vector field set up in, I think it was the Hammerhead engine room, and he basically made this lovely vector field that was from all the geometry inside that room, and the particles were pushing around. So if you had like a post in the middle of the room, you could make the particles push around that rather than just going straight through it.
That was in the second stage of CitizenCon last year, and
That's right.
that
Yeah.
video should be available on YouTube right now if anybody wants to chase that up afterwards.
Strongly recommend looking at it. It's very, very cool that
Ah,
was.
está comentando sobre un vídeo que sí sobre la Hammerhead que se mostraba, ¿no? Que lo podéis ver en YouTube y muestra cómo que directamente no solo puedes hacer que las partículas pasen a través de ese vector, sino que también lo rodeen, ¿no? Aplicaciones.
Yeah.
So what is this effect that we've been looking at? What is this called? The text is too small for me to read.
This is vortex and curl. To be honest, as I was talking, I wasn't even really sure what I was doing. So yeah, this is I'm giving a demonstration of vortex turbulence as well as curl noise. Okay, so let's take a look at this then. I remember now. So what I've got here is I've got a particle that's got a finite lifetime of 10. So the emitter is gonna last for 10 seconds. What I'm doing is I'm pulsing it. So even though it's got a finite lifetime, it's going to resume. So once it reaches its 10-second, well, basically over 10 seconds, it's going to start again. So every 10 seconds, this thing is reborn.
Vale, tiene como. Aquí lo que tiene puesto es como una movida, ¿no? Que lo que hace es que tiene un radio que cada 10 segundos, a los 10 segundos, pues como que se va expandiendo y luego se va contrayendo, ¿no? Que es como una especie de efecto vortex. Está enseñando pues cómo funciona.
Without any turbulence on it, just looks like this. It's just a big sphere of 10,000 particles.
Dice que sin ninguna turbulencia, que dice pues es eso, simplemente es una esfera con 10.000 partículas. Como lo está moviendo para que veamos cómo es, ¿no?
As I add vortex turbulence, you see what it's doing?
Vale, se añade el vortex turbulence, pues veis lo que hace, ¿no?
I mean, I know turbulence in the sense of air travel. What does turbulence here mean?
It's the same kind of thing, really. It's just it's a type of noise, so it's providing turbulence for the direction of the particles.
It's just a randomly generated shaking kind of thing, or?
Yeah. Well, it's twisting it. It's because that's why it's a vortex turbulence. It's okay. Essentially creating that kind of vortex shape. If I put the age to there, so you can kind of see there. In fact, let me just kill all this. Oh, just a really kind of minor note as well, and it won't be very glamorous, but one of the cool things about this editor is again Mihao actually, he's not just a VFX artist, he's also got a little bit of coding ability, so he's actually improving this editor for us as we're going along. So it sounds like a really basic thing, but we have just really nice things like revert to default and looping and then start points, looping mode, all this kind of functionality that just speeds up the workflow that might get overlooked sometimes. It's super cool.
We got a question in the chat.
Vale, estaba preguntando que realmente qué son las turbulencias en lo que es el esto, y dice que pues como que es como que agitar las partículas, modificar el comportamiento que tengan natural, simplemente. Y de hecho que tienen una persona en el equipo que aparte de ser pues artista, ¿no? De lo que es este tema, que también sabe algo de código, y entonces que está realizando mejoras a la hora de hacer las herramientas que hacen y pues que están consiguiendo realmente efectos geniales.
Interesting. Have you ever had? Oh, it just. I turned my auto scroll off and it's still going, which is hard. It's a terrible bug. I lost the question, but it was basically, have you ever created an effect? Have you ever had to make a particle effect for something that genuinely surprised you that they needed? Something you hadn't thought about before.
Una de las preguntas que están haciendo es si alguna vez has tenido que hacer un efecto especial para algo que realmente te haya sorprendido que necesitara un efecto especial.
Well, not at this company. Am I allowed to talk about other places where I had a strange effects request? Sure. Yeah, so I had a request for a cinematics for a cartoony game, and they needed a cheese smell particle effect.
A cheese smell?
Dice que estuvo trabajando para un juego rollo cartoon y tal, y que necesitaban un efecto para el olor a queso. Un efecto de partículas para el olor a queso.
Cheese smell, yeah. It's like, hey Mac, I need a...
¿Qué es lo más raro que se ha encontrado?
Oh, like when a cartoon brings out a piece of stinky cheese.
Claro, cuando un dibujo animado te trae un pedazo de queso apestoso.
The most normal thing in the world. But yeah, I mean, to be a bit more serious, the thing about Star Citizen is there's all kinds of requests. Again, going back to the original question, like where are VFX in the game? Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. We're looking at. Well, it's not just particles either. So one thing I wanted to talk about is we don't just exclusively work on particles, even though we're very heavily geared towards it. But we've got fog, we've got screen effects. You will have seen, no doubt, loads of information on the gas clouds. Again, we showed a nice demo at CitizenCon last year, and we've been like incrementally improving that setup throughout the year so far.
Dice que no solo tienen efectos de partículas en el juego, ¿no? Pues responde un poco a la pregunta, que hay efectos por todos lados, incluso que tienen efectos como de nube, efectos de pantalla, y que a medida pues que van avanzando cada vez se van mejorando más esas técnicas.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the requests that we get are pretty out there. We've got art directors with very creative art directors, as you'd expect. So yeah, lots of awesome requests really, and it's never a dull moment.
You think we could look at some of that?
Dice que en el equipo de Cloud Imperium Games, que resuelve esta sección, pues que hay equipo de arte, y dentro de ese equipo de arte pues hay gente realmente creativa y que tienen cantidad de requisitos increíbles, ¿no? De gente que le pide pues efectos para cosas extrañas, ¿no?
Stuff now?
Well, why not? Let's do that.
I mean, since you brought it up. Oh, look at you! You've got it all in there already.
Yeah. I got Jake to set this up for me. He even lit it for me. But yeah, so this isn't anything to do with particles. This isn't a particle, but this is something that we've collaborated very heavily with the graphics team. Obviously, the graphics team take all credit for allowing us to actually place these kind of things into our environments. This is one of the kind of more sexy things, I guess. One of the more less proven types of tech in real-time game development.
Está diciendo que esto es una cosa que ha desarrollado el equipo de gráficos y que bueno, que es una de las cosas más sexys que ha visto en el juego, y que es una tecnología que como está sin probar todavía, que es experimental. Esta tecnología, pues que eso de nubes y tal, que es algo que llama mucho la atención.
Being able to work with this kind of tool set is very inspiring as an artist, I would say. Yeah, and very challenging as well.
Dice que una de las cosas que hace es que es muy inspirador trabajar con esta tecnología como artistas que son, y también es un reto.
What kind of options are we looking at for this thing?
So, if I jump into game, I'm going to run the gauntlet. I'm going to try jumping into game.
Uh-oh, you're gonna fall.
Vale, acabo de saltar al juego con la tecnología.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're let's reduce that. One of the things that we're working as a VFX team, we're working really closely with the graphics team and art and design as well. We want to actually bring in, and again, this is something that we've demoed in CitizenCon last year and other times. We want to be able to bring in particles. We want it to be a systemic. So what we're doing with VDBs, if I can just jump back out of game again, I'm going to edit some settings on the VDB entity itself.
What does VDB stand for?
Oh.
It's volumetric.
I
data.
I don't even know.
We had this whole thing right before CitizenCon where we had to look it up, and we were finding different definitions online. And I was the second you said it, I was remembering this terrible search we were going through right before CitizenCon.
Dice, están hablando así un poco en general de que querían traer cosas a la CitizenCon con el tema de partículas y tal. Ya lo querían traer el año pasado. Y están comentando sobre una tecnología que quiere modificar un tema de la VVD, que es VVD, que es algo sobre... Y están tratando de descubrir qué significa, ¿no? Y dice que el de arte dice que no tiene ni puñetera idea realmente ahora mismo, y que Discolando, pues que en la CitizenCon como que estuvieron buscando definiciones a través de la web y demás. Y es algo de volumetric, no sé qué, pero que no están seguros.
CitizenCon, where we actually had like conflicting definitions of what VDB meant.
I don't know.
VDB.
Anyone?
Es...
Can I ask my team?
Sure.
There'll be someone in there.
VDB, creo que es. VDB.
This is the point on Star Citizen Live where we go and we ask our team members who might know things that we don't. This is a very common part of video game development because no one team member can be expected to know absolutely everything about
Pero bueno,
the
está comentando de que, claro, que esta es una de las cosas que pasa en Star Citizen, que no, que bueno, que no se espera que cada miembro del equipo sepa todo del juego, porque cada uno se dedica a lo suyo.
work that they do. And this is one of the major benefits of working on a team.
So the funny thing is, no one seems to know. They're all just googling it.
Dice que se lo ha preguntado a alguien, que diciendo discolando que una de las cosas buenas de trabajar en equipo es que seguramente alguien lo sepa y tal. Y el pavo dice que nadie tiene puta idea.
I could do that, couldn't I?
But
Definitely volumetric something.
yeah, it's volumetric.
Definitivamente volumétrico algo.
I mean, that one's kind of obvious. I mean, having figured out the V is kind of, it doesn't really show anything, but I built this whole thing up about how you were going to go ask a partner and how the strength of working in teams gets us things and stuff like that. And you came back like, we don't know.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, I mean, Ali and Ben Parry are just over there. They'd know the answer, but they're in a discussion about something. So I don't want to disturb. Okay.
but
so
no,
what I was going to show.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to show. So we've actually got a room system. The room system again that people will be familiar with from hearing other like designers in particular talking.
Dice que están hablando del tema de...
We have
Están hablando que aquí tienen como un sistema de habitaciones, ¿no? Que ya estamos familiarizados, ya lo vimos en el tema de las cuevas, lo que es el room system, ¿no? Que es pues eso, entre ese cubo pues se pueden hacer cosas y tal.
These VDBs hooked up to the room system, so the VDB itself is going to be dynamically spawning effects, and that's all driven through the room system. And the work that's been done on that, the entity effects system, that's Leo, who's one of our VFX programmers.
Claro, mira, esto es algo parecido a lo que nos enseñaron de las cuevas, ¿no? De que a la hora de ellos tener una habitación, pues pueden modificar un volumen y luego dentro de ese volumen pues se pueden producir ciertas cosas aleatorias. Pues el VDB lo que hace es básicamente lo mismo. Dentro de este espacio pues empiezan a producirse efectos de forma aleatoria o un efecto concreto que tenga diferentes comportamientos.
That allows us to do, we can basically, I'm not going to play around with these settings too much because I'm just going to break something. There's a lot of settings here, but we have a gameplay settings section here, and there's a density multiplier. Hopefully this is going to work. If I ramp that up, need to be in game. Oh no, I see it working.
So what are we changing?
I'm changing the density multiplier, although I've just realized I've set it to 0.
Me está diciendo que no quiere que tocara mucho esto de aquí porque está un poco sensible y no quiere cagarla, pero que está tocando lo que es la densidad ahora mismo, solamente.
Has it got a limit?
My screen is too far away to read the words, so I can't.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that it's too subtle as well for the. I don't think it's going to translate very well. But basically, if I can get to a point where I can see the light, can you see the kind of?
Yeah.
A little bit subtle there, so I was hoping it'd be much more strong. But yeah, what I was going to say was we've also got particles that are being dynamically spawned in based on the voxel density of the VDB. Just quickly try Angel Light. Again, reason for that. So that's where, as I was saying before, we kind of serve gameplay as well as design as well as much as we do art as well. And this is another thing where collaborating closely with the designers, it's not just about how the thing looks, but it's also how it feels. And one of the common problems with gas clouds, with them being so large and so kind of nebulous, it was quite easy to lose track of where you are and stuff. And that's why we bring in particles to give you that sense of space and that feeling of speed as well.
Claro, una de las cosas que dice es que a la hora de estar dentro de este tipo de nubes, lo que puede hacer es que tengas la sensación de que te estás perdiendo, de que pierdes la noción, el sentido, ¿no? Y entonces como que a veces tratan de dar esa sensación de movimiento en algunas situaciones, para esa sensación de velocidad o de movimiento de que estás haciendo algo. Me he fijado aparte, no sé si veis aquí arriba, que está cambiando constantemente, que cuando el tipo estaba fuera de la nube había 119 FPS, pero cuando se ha metido dentro, la mitad. O sea, ojo con esta T, que espero que la hagan bien, pero tiene pinta de ser cargante para el asunto, ¿eh?
Just gonna try and find a light. Let's take a look.
Aziz, light.
Light.
Is that fifth element?
Gas.
Fifth element, yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna. So this isn't necessarily going to look as pretty as it does, but I'm just gonna do it for visibility. Okay.
Ahí ahí le ha puesto la luz y tal para obtener algo más de visibilidad.
Okay. So.
Vale.
Oh man, it's more subtle than I wanted it to be. You can kind of see it when I move the camera, but I'm just I'll try and find a video later maybe that kind of demonstrates that a bit better. But yeah, I mean VDB's the VFX team. There's people. Oh, can you see them now?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
We're
So
seeing
that's all I was trying to find really, and it probably doesn't look that exciting.
Vale, está enseñando eso, ¿no? Que es todo lo que trataba de gustar, de mostrarnos, que precisamente no sabe muy excitante, ¿no? Pero es el tema ese que comentaba de la sensación de velocidad y de movilidad, ¿no? De que algo está pasando ahí.
But yeah, the point is that these effects, I've not placed these manually at all, because that's a really important aspect of making a game. So as big as ours, we need to be smart with the tools as well. We need to come up with methods that allow these things to systemically appear and to come in.
Claro, una de las cosas que está comentando es que a la hora de desarrollar un juego tan grande como este, lo bueno que tiene este tipo de efectos es que no están puestos ahí manualmente, sino que se generan, ¿no? De forma procedural. Ya hemos visto cómo hacen las cosas. Pues que tienen que ser inteligentes en esto y darse cuenta que es un juego con unas dimensiones determinadas y tratar de necesitar la menor cantidad de mano de obra posible, ¿no? Manual.
Based on rule sets rather than just having to manually place, because it would never be sustainable for the VFX artists to just place all these emitters everywhere.
We find that with just about every department. We have to build sustainable procedural systems, because when you're working at something the scale,
Claro, lo que está diciendo, ¿no? que todos los equipos tienen que hacer lo mismo, tienen que hacer algo que sea procedural, porque sería imposible para los equipos tener la mano de obra para hacer todo eso a mano, que sería una locura.
I mean, that's something as well. I'm probably just going off on a tangent now, but one thing that we've been really focusing on this quarter so far is the planet effects improvements as well, and that's a similar thing where there's work being done to improve the actual planets themselves. I think it's planet V4, and we're also improving our effects based on the work that's getting done on planets V4. So again, it's rule sets. So the terrain itself is going to be driving the particles, and it's going to be deciding where particles appear based on height and that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool as well.
Dice que una de las cosas que llega con el tema de los planetas V4, la versión 4, o sea, planetas mejorados y tal y todo el rollo, ellos también van mejorando en ese sentido y que una de las cosas que va a tener, que me parece una pasada, es que dependiendo de la altura del terreno, de la forma del terreno, pues que permitirá que en algunos sitios se generen de forma procedural pues, algún tipo de partículas o tal. Imaginaros, pues igual que en unas cumbres a determinada altura, pues hay niebla en ese cacho, ¿no? Pero debajo no.
Again, very challenging, but very cool.
Kilmark has a question about whether clouds like this will affect radar and scanning. This isn't a question from Mike. Kilmark, that's actually a game design question, and I didn't want to call you out specifically, but it's a good example of the type of questions that are for game designers as opposed to VFX directors and stuff like that. So you see a lot of those questions come through every single show, and I have them too, quite honestly. But it's.
I think I know the answer though, Jared. I think I can answer it if I'm allowed to.
Well, I go ahead.
You don't.
I just made this whole thing about how you're not the person to ask, but I know the answer too.
Okay, right. Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Try. And if you mess it up, I'm going to tell Kirk Tomei.
Okay.
So. Email from Kirk.
Oh no! Don't set Kirk on me, please. So, short answer is VDBs can affect your EM reading. You're going to get. I know this because we've worked on the screen interference aspect of it as well. So we used to, I think initially on the first pass we had it set up to voxel density. So the voxel density, just to demo that it could be done, voxel density was creating interference. Let's try bringing in a ship. See if it actually works while I'm talking. And if it doesn't, then I've shamed myself. Yeah, basically, whoa, God, I'm way too fast. Yeah, basically, the distance, I was talking about signed distance field before? Right. The distance from the wall is what we are going to be using to, as one of the options to have electromagnetic interference affecting us. Oh, look at that, it's not doing anything. Let's just forget about it. Fly away.
Estaban Estaban tratando de explicar cómo funcionaba el tema de las interferencias y todo eso, ¿no? De cómo va a interactuar esta tecnología para poder generar interferencias. Y estaba diciendo de que funciona a través de la distancia y tal, y que nos lo iba a enseñar ahora. Y de repente, pues que no les ha funcionado.
This cloud is problematic.
Y
Well,
esta
it's the
nube es
problem is it's
problemática
not
y tal.
problematic. We want it to be problematic, and it's not
Yeah,
being
yeah,
problematic.
yeah. It's too nice. It's a nice cloud. Anyway,
All right, so we've got about 20 minutes left. What else do we got?
I feel like I've got loads. I've got some videos as well. Is it worth me just blasting through some
Dice que
videos?
más tiene y que tiene unos vídeos
Some,
ahí para
some random
enseñarnos y
stuff.
tal.
So there's loads that I haven't talked about. As well as just having like the simple particles that I've been showing, we've also got a lightning region. We've got. Have I got an example of that? We've got spline guided particles, which kind of tie in with the lightning region.
You're gonna get everybody hyped up for this stuff.
Let's just do it. Shall I just try making one?
Sure.
Let's just go for it.
Let's do it live.
Yeah, as the saying goes. Okay, so lightning region.
Vale, creo que va a hacer un tema de rayos en directo. Que está diciendo que va a hacer un tema de rayos en directo. Vamos a ver.
Looks kind of weird.
Ajá.
This is. Let me just make a new one. So if I bring my editor across. So one of the reasons that we renamed this from particle editor to VFX editor is very much for what I'm going to show you now. So we now have a lightning effect. The group. Lightning, not lighting, yep. And I'm going to assign this completely new lightning effect to my default lightning region. Again, sorry, I've got to kind of drag a load of windows left and right. And again, you can see there's all these kind of settings, and I'm going to just assign that effect to it. Bring that across. And I'm going to make a child particle. Can't believe I made a decision to do this live. Absolute madness.
We actually do a pre-show when we do these things. We go over the content and everything, so there's no surprises and whatnot. These things are all planned out. Even when they look kind of wonky, it's like most of these things are planned out. And we were like, no, we're not going to create this live. We're going to show a video because it'll take too much time to do it live and whatever. And then that time just goes out the window sometimes.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Bueno, dice que normalmente que tratan de hacer algo como las cosas, los shows que nos muestran, tratan de tenerlo un poco preparado y tal, pero porque muchas veces algunas cosas se salen fuera de la ventana y que bueno, pues que en este caso pues van a hacer simplemente un efecto de rayos en directo. Está ahí como agrupando el tema de rayos, haciendo una especie de familia de rayos y tal. Y bueno, pues como tiene una zona que como que se genera en esa zona rayos, ¿no? Y nos va a ir guiando pues, por el proceso.
I'm a loose cannon. Okay, so
You're a loose cannon.
yeah. So all I need to do is make it spline guided, and give it some CPU scattering. Give it some actual emissive. Let's go. I will fall back to a video if I can't get this to actually work. By the way, I feel like there's a gremlin in my test scene. Make it additive. Just double check I've got all the right settings in place.
Aumentando el número de partículas, tal.
I feel like I'm gonna fail doing this. Screw it, I'm just gonna show a video of something shiny.
Oh, you did something.
There you go.
Y que le den simplemente va a enseñar un vídeo y fuera al final.
So that's what we were going for.
Something like this. So basically, one of the spline. I wanted to show the spline guided effects just because it gives us, again, it's like something that we've not had for that long. I guess for a few months, I suppose, but time flies. We can just get again. It goes down the kind of creative versus realistic approach. You know, who's to say what kind of alien technology is out there in our universe, in the Star Citizen universe.
This makes me want to touch the screen and see if it travels with my finger, is what this makes me want to do.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Whoa.
Así simplemente que nos están enseñando todo tipo de temas, ¿no? En plan de cosas que pueden hacer o posibles movidas que hayan por ahí en alienígenas en el universo y tal, o en zonas alienígenas. Diferentes tipos de efectos. Están enseñando de rayos y demás.
And this is a combination, so I don't know why I've jumped to this video, but this is a combination of, this gives you a good idea that as well as just playing with particles, we're also controlling camera shake, we've got fog in the level as well.
Ahí de que nos estamos haciendo una combinación de diferentes técnicas, lo que sería el... También tenían niebla, tenían partículas, tenían el efecto de rayos, pues se pueden combinar para conseguir esas cosas.
And in fact, I'm going to load up a different scene if that's okay, Jared.
You've got 15 minutes, you can do whatever you'd like, Mike.
Okay, let's
Vale,
do
dice
it.
que va a
So
enseñarnos
we're
otra
gonna
escena
go to
diferente.
an electricity templates level, which is again, it's just another test level. I think I did actually show a version of this in the Gas Cloud demo, but it's a good example. So here we go. So we've got some.
This just reminds me of Leslie Nielsen, like, everyone stay calm. There's nothing to see here.
Yeah, I mean, this is, to be honest, it's like a good example. Like you look at when you're walking around the office, you see people what's on people's screens. Usually the VFX, this group of people around me, there's kind of crazy shiny stuff on people's screens, and the majority of us wear glasses, don't we? Yeah, it's no surprise. We're staring at this like all day, every day. But yeah, so
dice que como que a veces pues se reúne gente, ¿no? A mirar ahí, a mirar los efectos y tal y todo ese rollo de, bueno, saber qué coño pasa en la pantalla de la gente que hace los efectos visuales.
If you had to guess, how many particles are we looking at here?
Oh.
Y tienes que suponer cuántas partículas estamos viendo ahora mismo.
I can look. The actual number, I don't know. To be honest, it's an interesting question because the actual number is less important from a performance and optimization point of view. The number is less relevant. It's more about how much memory the allocation is taking up and how much memory the textures are taking up, for example, as well.
That's what I wanted to get at.
Claro, dice que, curiosamente dice que el número de partículas no es importante, sino es más importante el tema de la textura y cuánta memoria está ocupando la textura de esas partículas o tal, que se fijan más en eso a la hora del rendimiento que el número de partículas.
Your particle is considered equal.
Mm-hmm. And it, you know, even adding cool noise, I've been talking about like cool noise quite a bit. Adding cool noise will incur a cost as well. So sometimes you have to see, okay, well, I've added cool noise. What does it really add to the effect? Can I use something else? Can I use the turbulence noise on its own, which is cheaper? It's always about asking yourself questions about how can I make this as efficient as possible. But it's also occasionally fun to just go crazy as well. So if I actually play this, so I've got some things set up on a track view. You can see if I show all the helpers.
Sure.
Kind of messy. It's kind of surprising how scary these kind of things can look. If you see all these green lines, that's because I've got a particle effect that is kind of wrapping its way around the. Let me find the layer.
Está hablando de muchas cosas en general, pero bueno, dice que como que las líneas estas verdes que tenía era como el camino que tenía unas partículas alrededor de ahí y demás, y que puede asustar un poco el ver todo eso así, datos.
See these ones here?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go.
Ahí están,
So
mira.
they're a bit rough looking. They're not kind of. I wouldn't put them in a game like this. They'd need quite a lot of work, but it's just an example that we can animate these effects as well.
Es un ejemplo de lo que pueden hacer con los efectos, ¿no?
Up, and that's what you see. All these points. These are all control points. That essentially
Todos los puntos son
son
puntos de control para esas partículas.
Yeah. And there's fog in here. There's space loop particles. There's so many terms. There's so many things I could talk about. Space loop particles are. You see how it just feels like this environment is completely full. You know, it's full of fog.
Exactly.
And it's almost like infinite. If I just carry on going infinitely, it's because we're using a space loop. Well, some space loop effects. And what they do is they actually tile. So they're kind of, we call them bricks. So it's like tiled bricks. And that gives you and they're spawned from where the camera is, so it makes you feel like you're in this kind of thick environment, but really it's more of a trick.
Now, we know that certain effects, certain particles have physical displacement. We've seen them hit walls. We know that if a player moves through them, that'll bounce off the player. Is that something that's possible with the fog as well?
Well, the fog.
Vale, está hablando de, a la hora de un personaje interactuar con partículas que hemos visto en el juego, de cómo interactúa con las partículas. Lo hemos visto en Área 18, ¿no? La cartelería que se supone que también rebota en lo que es el cuerpo del jugador. De que si algo relacionado con la niebla es posible también hacerlo así, es posible con la niebla.
I think the larger the actual individual particle is, the more problematic it's going to be. We could make it do it, but it's going to look strange if you had like if I had like just a single, you can see me kind of moving my mouse around in the middle of the screen. If the particle was that big on the screen and it hit the boundary, it's just going to look weird. It's just going to give the game away. Really, it's going to the player's just going to know that it's just a smoky texture on a big quad. So absolutely we can do it, but it's more about you just got to be sensible with the things that are going to be using collision, and maybe we just have dust motes that are colliding with the geometry rather than the.
Claro, dice que sí es posible hacerlo, pero que si lo haces así directamente, que como quedaría como mal, ¿no? Que quedaría raro el verlo así. Que para hacer ese tipo de colisiones que tienen que ser muy cuidadosos a la hora de mirar cómo lo hacen y de quizás solo pues unas pequeñas partículas que lo hicieran, no todo, ¿no?
The big thick fog. The thick fog itself would just be we'd use the soft particle settings, which makes it fade away as it gets to the edge as well.
Right.
Do you want me to show you some really nice decoupled lighting examples?
No.
I'm just going to show you anyway. So okay, I'm going to load up. I'm going to load up Delamar. Okay, so one of the things
I just wanted to know what it felt like to say no to a developer once.
Did it feel good?
Not really.
No.
Not as good as I'd hoped.
I
Bueno,
wasn't.
voy a enseñar una movida de Delamar, a ver qué tal.
You can say no.
Le ha dicho a Lando si quiere que se la enseñe y Lando le ha dicho que no.
Okay,
Y dice que se lo va a enseñar de todas maneras.
Yeah, this quarter, one of the things, again, we've talked about this. We've talked about this in monthly reports and we've shown videos. I think we did a little segment on it, didn't we? In fact,
Earlier this season, we refer to every quarter of the show as a season internally. That's what I was talking about. Earlier this quarter, we did a bit on decoupled lighting. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm just going to load up Delamar, which is obviously one of the more established environments in our game. And this decoupled lighting rollout that we're doing, it's for me personally, I think it's like breathing new life into the older locations, and I think we're all really excited to show the backers when it goes into the live release. Get people back in some of these locations. Maybe they've not been there for a while because they get excited by all the new places. But yeah, it's a kind of, probably people get bored of me saying it, but it looks better while costing less, and which is the dream, really.
Now, for anybody that didn't see that segment.
Bueno, nos están enseñando un poco de las mejoras que le están haciendo a Delamar o las cositas, ¿no? La niebla que le ponen y que, pues, la tecnología que están diseñando como aplicada, ¿no? Y pues que dice que se ve mejor realmente con los efectos especiales que le están metiendo, evidentemente. Yo cada vez que me tengo un parche y tal, la verdad es que me procuro fijar en esos detalles. Ya a veces pienso que simplemente por el hecho de meter un parche nuevo ya me hipeo y pienso que han cambiado cosas. Pero sí, van aumentando detallitos, metiendo cositas por aquí, por allá, todo lo que van aprendiendo, aunque a veces no aparezcan en el roadmap, sí se ven mejoras en los escenarios, ¿no?
Give me the 10-cent version of what decoupled lighting is.
Okay, so decoupled lighting is literally the lighting of particles previously was based on the tessellation of the particle of the vertices of the particles. So to get high quality shadowing on particles, we had to rely on a much greater amount of verts, and it was prohibitively expensive. We couldn't do it for such large scale effects like this, it just wasn't possible. We just wouldn't be able to afford it at all, and you just end up with like poor quality, kind of blocky shadows. What decoupled lighting gives us is a much softer, more natural looking shadowing on the particles. You can kind of see it's picking up the light really nicely here.
This is a good example of one of the things you talked about.
Están hablando del tema de la luz desacoplada, ¿no? ¿En qué consiste la luz desacoplada? Entonces, dicen que a la hora de poder poner las sombras a las partículas, como que separaron la luz en bloques o algo así, ¿no? Por el tema de que de esa manera pues consiguen pues que visualmente se definan mucho mejor las sombras en general. Que han tenido también problemas con respecto al rendimiento con eso y tal, y bueno, pues han ido desarrollando diferentes soluciones.
About earlier how sometimes the best VFX work isn't noticed at all. Like
Exactly.
we would expect to see natural curvy shadows on stuff like the fog. So when you see this, as impressive as it is, it almost doesn't
Claro, ahí
look.
está. Fijaros en lo de la luz desacoplada, ¿no? El tema de cómo vemos estas sombras curvadas, ¿no? Porque tú esperas realmente visualmente ver esto, pero nadie se imagina el trabajo de efectos especiales que hay detrás. La verdad es que es una flipada, porque veis como esas curvitas que tienen las sombras, ¿no?
Look impressive because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
expect this because we've seen it
That's
in the real world.
Claro,
So we
esperamos eso
expect
porque
it,
lo
so
hemos
it
visto en el
doesn't
mundo real.
stand out as something, and it is super cool.
Yeah, that's that exactly what I was saying before. It's like if you've done your job, a lot of the time people aren't necessarily going to go, "Wow, the dust's got shadows on it." VFX artists playing games will definitely notice it, I'm sure. Um, here's another one. So we're in the drug lab,
Aquí está la
one of
habitación de
the
Wallace Clean.
kind of OC locations in the PU, and this is a great example. In fact, this is one of my favorites.
Es un
I
gran
love
ejemplo de
seeing
ese tipo de luz, ¿no? Y las
the kind of
sombras.
what I call them God
Es
rays. I
uno,
don't
es
know
uno de
what
sus
the
favoritos.
proper term is for it, but there's a light behind this kind of fan, and you just get them lines going through it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's you know, your computer is in Winslow, and we are sending your image to us here in LA over a video conferencing software, and then
Yeah.
we are regurgitating that in the second copy up to folks
Yeah.
over Teams. So this image is twice processed over what people would see on their own client, and it still looks pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, sometimes that's a good point because sometimes when we show VFX in videos, compression and streaming and can kind of take a hit.
Claro,
But yeah,
bueno, está comentando ahora de que a la hora de que cuando llega el vídeo, digamos que este vídeo pasa por un estudio, luego va para otro, luego va para otro, y así les llega a ellos para poder emitir. Que tengamos en cuenta de que es una buena cosa, que a veces a través de los vídeos no se pueden apreciar los especiales porque se pierde como calidad en la compresión a la hora de transmitir y demás.
yeah, when you see it in game,
Cuando los ves en
back
el juego, pues
get it live,
que
it's going to be
alucinas,
super
¿no?
impressed.
De ver esto.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look at it for another couple seconds here.
I got some more videos as well.
You got 5 minutes, Mike.
Ahora dice que
Just
queda
show
5
another
minutos,
so
nos
this
va a
is
enseñar otro
I've just got
vídeo.
a folder of super random things that I've made over time for the
Sí,
project.
que son cosas random
Sometimes
que
as
han
well,
hecho
you know, we say
a través del
a
tiempo
lot
para
of
el
the stuff that
proyecto.
I've shown in these videos, it's not so much about this being actual content in the game. It's more about inspiring other developers in the company, the VFX artists, but also the art and design teams to know what we can achieve and what can be made. So something like this is a good example where I think I've called it space anomaly. I mean,
well, no,
it's
this is the Nexus, and if you go inside it, you'll meet Captain Kirk.
exactly. There you go.
Están hablando
built in
de
a
una
lore
coña
that's
de
really
series, ¿no? Esto es el Nexus y si vas ahí, pues conocerás al Capitán
yeah, I mean,
Kirk.
so I talked about particles. I kind of failed to show lightning, although
No, you showed it.
well,
showed
kind
it,
of, yeah. Screen effects you will have seen like camera shaking and stuff like that. Fog. We've also got meshes. Like one thing that I don't actually have a good example of it right now, but we've also just implemented some nice improvements to the what we're calling the VFX transparency shader. So a lot of the time, where you're seeing that I've got these particles, that to kind of have this lovely slow, soft environmental dust and stuff. We've also got a really nice mesh now, mesh shader that we can add. And this is super simple stuff, to be fair. Like it's not like, whoa, Star Citizen's got scrolling UVs or anything, but we kind of relying with that on not having it for quite a while and bringing it back in. So I'm talking about simple UV scrolling on meshes, being able to fade those meshes, the opacity of the meshes based on distance and based on angle. So like edge angle fade, and also soft particle or similar to soft particles, have them fade as they collide with other geometry. It's just another tool in our arsenal, and it's also something that we can give to the artists, and they can make these meshes themselves, and it kind of empowers them.
There's some conversation
Bueno,
about that.
es como está hablando de un tema como de redes, ¿no? Que tienen una especie de redes ahí de sombras y tal, que como que pueden hacer que dar esta herramienta a los artistas y que viéndolo desde diferentes caras, como que le den ese toque o se ve diferentes las caras que desde los que estés viendo, el ángulo, ¿no? Visión y demás, o la distancia incluso.
In the monthly report this month that went out, and I think there's actually a video
Cool.
in the monthly report, if I'm not mistaken. I don't process those anymore. so I'm not as tied into them as I used to be.
Yeah, and it's quite early days with it. It's as I say, it's not exactly like revolutionary, but just having it, it's like wow, okay.
Dice que no es
We can
revolucionario
actually
el
do more
tenerlo, pero
efficiently as
que
well.
es
With
interesante el poder
more
utilizar ese
control.
tipo de cosas, ¿no?
One thing I didn't show, and it's definitely not something like to count as the finale, but I didn't really talk about like the implementation of effects as much. So
Let's do it. Let's wrap
working
up.
Working with the designers, using things like DataForge and scripts, and there's so many ways that we can bring in effects into the game. It's not just about, for VFX artists, it's not just about making really pretty effects. It's thinking about how they actually are implemented in the world that we're creating.
Claro, dice que los efectos especiales pues no solamente hacer cosas bonitas, sino mirar realmente de cómo pueden implementarlos en el juego, ¿no? De transmitirnos ese realismo.
I'll just do.
You still have your lightning ball going there.
Yeah, I'm just getting that. Jump into my favorite ship. What's your favorite ship?
My favorite ship is the Carrack.
Bueno, dice que va a saltar en su nave favorita, que es la Gladius, y le pregunta ¿cuál es tu nave favorita? Y es una pregunta que le han hecho, digamos, ahí a saco. Y bueno, a lo largo de la historia de los shows de Star Citizen, la comunidad ha decidido que la nave favorita de Discolando es la Carrack y ahora tiene que ser la Carrack en todos lados. Por eso lo dice así suspirando, ¿no? Pero sabéis que hay mucha gente que dice sacar la Carrack ya, ¿qué pasa con la Carrack todo el día, ¿no?
Okay.
As legally mandated by YouTube comments.
So the classic thrusters. Okay, so this was, I think, pretty much the first things I started working on when I joined CIG all those years ago. I've always had a fondness for the thrusters. The thrusters, so we're using the particle emitter strength curve. It's similar to the age curve.
Mm-hmm.
We're hooking that up to the thrust input. So as the ship applies more thrust, sort of demands more power from the ship, it's ramping up the strength curve. It's not just like in some games that you'll just see like the.
Claro, está comentando lo que veíamos antes, ¿no? El tema de las curvas y tal, de cómo se modifica la distancia a la que vemos, las partículas, todo eso. Entonces, a medida que da más potencia, que esas curvas y esos parámetros se modifican, pues para que el comportamiento de las partículas de los impulsores se vea diferente.
And you've just got this thruster that's either there or it's not there. Like this is a much more subtle and organic and more natural looking way of adding effects, I think. And I'm just going to jump out of game. I'm going to find that effect really quickly. And this wasn't, I wasn't prepped for this at all. So.
Dice que va a encontrar un efecto, no sé qué, que no estaba preparado para esto, para nada, que nos va a enseñar otro efecto.
A ver. Have the Aegis Gladius thrusters. Okay, so I just
Ahí están los efectos de los impulsores de la Gladius. Y ahí está puesto por separado, ¿no? Sin estar pegado al motor, como lo vimos antes.
Well, if I was just making this, if I was just like working away and I was on my own and I wasn't on being filmed out, I do tend to make sound effects when I'm making an effect. It's usually a sign that I'm enjoying the effect if I start making silly noises. So yeah, so this is like the way that the effect is on its own. So obviously it looks quite different when you just see it in situ. But I've got.
Es como mira cómo se ve el efecto por su cuenta, ¿no?
On the particle entity, and this is the equivalent. So this is when the ship is idle, and this is when the ship is giving like it's requesting full thrust input.
Una cosa es cuando está separada y otra cosa es cuando está full.
We've got this sliding scale, so we create these effects.
Que tienen como un slider, ¿no? Para poder pues mover hacerlo más potente, menos potente, ¿no?
Opacity. So here you go. So we've got this strength curve here. So this is at 0 strength. So this is while the ship is just idle, and this is at full strength as well.
Ahí tenemos lo que os enseñaba un poco antes, ¿no? El tema de las curvas, cómo modifican. Pues en este caso estaría la nave pues sin tema. Aquí le meterían caña a los impulsores, ¿no? Pues así va el tema. Modificando todo esto, pues consiguen que a la hora nosotros pues de dar potencia en la palanca de gases o en el juego y tal, pues que veamos esa referencia visual que es de lo que se trata en los efectos del juego.
People will be looking in this. They were looking in this library, and they'll be seeing all kinds of stuff. There's a few test particles that I've still got in here from we've been doing a lot of work on like damage effects. I think we brought in the first pass at thruster damage recently, and then we've got shock diamonds in here as well somewhere. All kinds of stuff. It's not just one effect. We've got lots of kind of layers. We have effects that appear just from coming through atmosphere, like just a subtle shock diamond that you won't see when you're flying around in space, but you will see it when you're entering atmosphere on planets. So loads of sort of things. Again, it's the kind of thing that, as you say, I think not everyone's going to notice stuff like that necessarily, but it all adds to the overall experience. It's not quite tangible, but it just makes it all look and feel better.
All right, we'll wrap up with a question from Groff Azul here. If you had to pick one favorite effect so far that you or a member of your team has done for Star Citizen, what would it be?
Está haciendo una de las preguntas es, si tuviera que escoger un efecto especial hecho por un miembro de su equipo, ¿cuál sería el efecto que escogería? Ponéis ahí, es difícil entender el pavo de los VFX. No, realmente no es difícil. Lo que pasa es que muchas veces lo que están comentando es, pues voy a dar a este botón, voy a dar a este tal, y realmente lo estáis viendo por pantalla, ¿no? Entonces hay muchas cosas que, o sea, trato de comentarlos, porque acordaros de que esto es comentado, no es doblado palabra por palabra. Trato de comentaros lo que considero que sea importante que sepáis o para que entendáis lo que están haciendo, ¿no? Pero muchas veces, pues a la hora de meterse ellos con un programa y demás y tal, pues muchas veces están diciendo, bueno, pues voy a pintar una curva aquí, voy a hacer que esta curva sea un poco más ancha, un poco más estrecha. Pues eso tampoco tiene sentido traducirlo y para el vídeo. Por eso muchas veces luego lo comento todo junto y lo resumo y os lo explico con ratón y demás, ¿vale?
Ah, that's a good question.
Pick a favorite of all your children, Mike.
I really like the, oh God, so many to choose from. I love the Idris explosion that we did.
We showed back at Gamescom.
Yeah, we showed it back at Gamescom. Obviously, Idris isn't out there yet, but I absolutely love that effect. I love the name's gone, but the big weapon, the big railgun.
The railgun.
I can't remember the actual name. Yeah, the railgun.
Pero creo que está hablando de los efectos de la railgun de la Idris, supongo.
I got time to just get the weapon.
Está buscando el arma, el railgun tocho. No sé si se refiere al de mano o al de...
Weapon effects, actually. We're starting to kind of hit a nice groove with the weapon effects. Move this out.
No sé si se refiere al de mano o al de la Idris, la verdad.
I can't remember the name of the damn thing.
No puedo recordar el nombre.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I will show you. If you're talking about effects that I really like, let me show you this one. This is it.
That's one, then I have to let you get back to work.
Like that.
Oh. Do it again.
Dice que lo hagan otra vez, Es uno de los efectos que le mola, que es una de las explosiones que hay.
That is an impact effect.
Un efecto de impacto.
That's all I'm going to say. And this is another really nice one. This is one of the Jan explosions.
Es una de las explosiones Xian y es lo único que va a decir, que es un efecto de impacto.
There's so many things I was going to talk about, but it's all gone out the window. We have like very specific textiles, so we've got a style guide where we have set of logic and law that we apply to different manufacturers and different alien races. So this is a really nice example of the Xian. There's lots of cool noise there, which I was talking about.
Está comentando que tienen una serie de características o de movidas, ¿no?, que van aplicando según sea el fabricante. Pues cada uno tiene como sus propiedades a la hora de los efectos que tiene. Y que iba a decir muchas cosas, pero que al final va a calmar un poco y tal. Y bueno, igual por miedo al spoiler, vete a saber, pero vamos, que esto sería como una especie de colisión o de implosión Xian.
You know what? I love explosions. I mean, I'm a VFX artist, so I suppose I'd have to end on the odd explosion or two, wouldn't I?
Le dicen que más, que enseñe más.
No.
Just gonna toggle through these explosions. Burning my eyes. Yeah.
All right. Yes, but I'm the one that has to explain why I keep these people away from work for longer than I agree.
Claro, que se tiene que ir a trabajar el pavo y tiene que finalizar.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here with us and to take us through this.
You're welcome.
I think people enjoyed it. I super enjoyed it. That's it. That's Star Citizen Live this week. We'll be back next week with another show. Check with us on Monday to find out what it's going to be about. I already know what it's going to be about, but I don't want to tell you just yet. It's another cool one. Hopefully, things work out. Schedules and availabilities. All right. See you later, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bueno, pues eso, que se ha despedido, ha terminado el tema. Y bueno, pues esto ha sido el Star Citizen Live de esta semana. Eh, la verdad es que mola bastante saber estas cosas. He visto por ahí que decíais mecánicas y tal. Sí, necesitamos mecánicas, necesitamos contenido. Yo creo que espero que el parche 3.6 venga cargadito de cosas y bueno, que rellene un poco las cosas. Y una de las cosas que yo creo que más necesitamos es el tema el tema de las parties, ¿no? Podamos por fin, de que podamos por fin hacer el tema de grupo y demás y todas esas historias. La verdad es que una de las cosas que yo creo que hace lo que apetece jugar ahora mismo es con compañeros, debido precisamente a que no hay, o sea, hay contenido, pero el contenido que hay como que no tiene esa profundidad que todos esperamos que tenga Star Cities. Eh, ¿Cómo se miran tus tickets? No tengo idea, tío. Escribe admiración commands y te saldrán los comandos. Commands con dos M's. Creo que no puedes mirarlo. Parece que no puedes. Y nada, eso es todo. Gracias por el apoyo que me dais siempre. Y bueno, iremos haciendo directillos a lo largo de la semana. Cuando sea el jueves, pues haremos el Inside Star Citizen y cuando sea viernes el Star Citizen Live, como siempre. Así que nada, hasta luego.